what really moved the needle was uh, understanding your customer, building the website for people um, who are not digital, very tech savvy. I was just randomly calling them and understanding their needs. And I just started applying that.
Welcome to the Mastering E-commerce Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Eitan Koter, co-CEO of Vimy. In an era of rising acquisition costs and increased competition, this podcast is dedicated to helping you drive sales, engage customers, and build meaningful communities so you can turn passive visitors into active buyers. Now let's get started with the episode. Arooba, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Eitan. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Arooba, why are you so excited about marketing and e-commerce and growth?
I I am just obsessed with it because it really tells you your results. You're doing something, you can measure the results, you can drive from there. Numbers have been my passion always, but marketing was something. Uh, it was not a planned career. I just started, and I got interested, and I kept doing it, and it just yeah, here I am now. From
Oh,
after 10 years.
marketing just pulled you to the job, right?
Yeah, it just pulled me. I was actually going for a graphic designing career. Um, but I think I was made for this, and I think it's a perfect um career for me.
Nice. Great to hear. Aruba, what are the three words that are most important to you?
Um, I would say that as a person and professional both combined, I would say I'm very grounded, strategic, and data driven. I mean, even in my personal life, I do so much the numbers game.
Okay. Very analytical.
Yeah, very analytical.
And what do you mean by grounded?
Grounded, I mean, I just look at things how it is. Uh I look at the facts and then I drive from there. It's more it's like a practical approach, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. So you have great experience in launching from scratch a variety of brands, right? Tell us a little more about your experience with Triumph and how you scaled that to such an impressive growth.
I When I joined Triumph, I it was 2016, and Triumph had a minimal digital infrastructure. They had no brand presence online, especially. They had a website, but it was not user friendly. No data, no paid channels. I it started. I mean, it was just a three people team, and there was no direction. That if I just knew that I have to uh, create a brand presence. So I started with the website. I started with the customers. I started with reaching out the customers, like what are the problems they are facing, what do they want to see, and then I launched a user-friendly website and built the analytics stack and rolled out. Started on Meta, Google, and email with proper tracking. And this was something I was doing just by myself. That's why I learned all of these channels on the way, because back then there was not too much not too much focus on digital in 2016 especially.
Hmm. Wow. You had any KPIs or what was the target back then?
They just left it on me. They were like, just build the infrastructure, and um I just took it as a challenge because they were making 500,000 per year. And I knew that this is something I can grow because the brand presence was there. Brand was there from
Yeah.
uh 30, 40 years. So yeah, I think it was like a great opportunity because digital was on peak those at that time. Just improving some things and building the foundation really kept got this started. And once I saw the initial results, then I was like, okay, this is happening, so I can do more. And I just kept doing it, figuring out.
What do you think contributed to the growth and to the success?
I would say what really moved the needle was like, uh, understanding your customer, building the website for people um, who are like, some people were not digital, very tech savvy. And we had like our demographic from 35 to 45, 55 years old. And especially considering digital was new, there was not so much awareness about how, like, how to go about it. So when I started talking to customers myself, um, I was understanding their needs directly. I was just randomly calling them and understanding their needs. And I just started applying that. So that was the biggest needle which moved. Then, uh, then yeah, eventually collection based launching. I built a full life cycle system like a retention, and it was not just top of funnel media. So over 5 years we grow paid spend by 40x, and by improving CAC and conversion rate from 1% to under 1% to approx 3.5%.
Hmm. Interesting. Obviously, today is a completely different ecosystem than what it used to be, right?
It is, I know. It's totally different, and it's always changing, and it's gonna keep changing every day now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what do you see happening, right? What has changed in the last probably decade? Right?
Oh, Facebook has changed a lot. Like, Facebook was the initial channel which everyone was focused on, uh, Meta. And it was much easier. The paid space was not that competitive. There were not, uh, the CACs were low, the media buying was low. But now there is so much competition in the market, it's harder for you to, like, uh, do the same exact things which you did 10 years ago from now. Um, Algorithms with the AI introducing, that is the biggest change which happened, and we had to adapt with this. And that's what I have been doing now from the past like few years.
Yes. And so, how do you approach marketing? Because we understand that every channel is very, very competitive, right? You just starting to learn through data, right? Analytics, what's happening, just doing the job, being flexible, agile, just making all the iteration, changing things very fast. How do you approach marketing today with where everything looks so competitive right now?
I approach so my like my approach starts with ICPs. I have started focusing more. It's always the ICP first, understanding the customers, understanding the personas, building those avatars. Because sometimes when I talk with clients, for my consultant based the clients, they have a very good product. They have a amazing looking website, but their ads, their ICP, their landing pages, it's not connected. It's not matching. And then they come, most of the biggest problem I have seen these days after talking to, like, clown clients, like so many founders, they don't have any creative playbook. They don't have any connection between these three things: ICP, ads, landing pages. It all needs to be connected. And then comes the data. Because once I understand my audience, then I will know, okay, where my audience are, which channel my audience is. Because now it's not just Meta. It's like so many channels. It's Reddit, Google, uh, Twitter, LinkedIn. So after you have your personas, your ICPs, then you are able to decide, okay, so this is where my audience are. And this is for this persona, I have to go here, I have to go there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, how do you, I mean, gain experience and learn how to operate in any one of those, communities or, ecosystems? It's like very specific, right? Or no?
You mean the channels
The
or?
channels, yes. I mean, obviously you need to use multiple channels. Like Facebook alone is not enough anymore, for sure. How do you learn how to operate them? I mean, you employ, you just start to learn this internally, or you work with agencies, or what's the best way to do that?
So I would say back at that time, I started Meta and Google myself, and I started doing this because we had like limited budgets. Um, but it was still like, only Meta and Google because that's where Triumph's audience were. But then I moved to an agency side. I started working with an agency, paid performance agency, and that was my turning point. That was the reason I switched because I wanted to understand the all the channels. I wanted to understand the agency side, being in different spaces, being in working with the clients in different industries, and what was happening. So I was building a team, but I was not building a team as far as like, okay, if they know Facebook, so there is a separate media buyer for Facebook, there's a separate media buyer for Google. No, it was like, you have to learn everything. You have to, because it's almost it's the same. It's just the a little bit, maybe the platform is different, the dashboard looks different, but the basics are the same, right? uh so yeah, I jumped into the systems and I started experiment, and I think I was fortunately, like, I would say that I was able to experiment a lot, and just test. And I was able to convince my clients that, okay, we can test this channel. So I did Twitter ads, I did Reddit ads, LinkedIn ads, I did also Snapchat. So I just jumped right into the platforms and started experimenting.
Wow. Obviously, if you start from your ICP and you learn behaviors and you have good amount of understanding of the data, right, then you can probably figure things out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So tell us also about Stimara. I think it's a really interesting product, right? And tell us about your experience over there as well. I think it was you had this execution first mentality, right? So I'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, so Istimara is a neurodivergent. Um, it's the brand, but it was focused on neurodivergent users, and that is how it is started. It was a Kickstarter based brand, and I was brought in to create the growth funnel, like the full funnel strategy approach. And by execution first growth means that I think, um like, I don't start building the strategy on the slides. I'm not that person to create, like, the long deck and then say, okay, this is what's going on and stuff. Yes, I do my audit, but I build the dashboards, I build the campaigns, I build the tests, I audit, where your cat is leaking, where your money is wasted, and rewriting angles, aligning the LP landing pages, and own the output. So back to Stimara, this is the project product they have, if you can see. So
Yes.
it's like a fidget toy for adults, and
Mhm.
I would just tell myself, like, personally, that I didn't know that I needed a fidget until I joined Istimara, because I used to do things, but I didn't know that was fidgeting. I just wanted thing with my hand. So it really improved my focus, and now I have this thing in just, like, my pocket. Sometimes is playing with it. It really keeps me grounded, focused, attentive in the meetings, because I think working in the digital space, I lost my attention span big time.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
yeah.
And what did you find out when you started to analyze what's happening and started to figure out what's going to work in terms of the growth and channels?
So with this Tamara, what was happening, that this was like a it was very niche specific,
Mhm.
but with the customer behavior, with the data they had collected for, like, 2 years or so, it was very interesting that it was not just the customer reviews were not just from the neurodivergent users. And Istamara was focusing entirely on that niche, which is good, which made them like, $1 million company. But the thing is that if you want to grow, if you want to reach to new customers, the challenge they had that they have 67% returning customers and new customers were like, 33, 20, 30%. Uh, so if you want to reach to new customers, my idea was to let's learn from the customers' behavior. Let's learn from the communities there are, like, Reddit search, and understand what else this product is solving. And people, when we read the reviews and everything, then we were able to figure out, okay, this is, we can play with so many different angles. We can play with so many different personas. That's how it has started. When I joined um, the ad account was being handled by an agency, and the meta ads structure was, I mean, nothing bad about the agencies. I love agencies, but that meta ad accounts were not set up for success. And it was the algorithm, because the campaigns were structured in a way that our algorithm was getting confused, because it was so many campaigns. It was like not a simplified, and that ad account was in hands of like, 4 or 5 different people in the entire duration.
Wow. Yeah.
I simply just created the new ad account. I started feeding the signals, right signals from the top of funnel campaigns. And that's how the algorithm started learning fast. And then I launched some of the bundle options, some of the different persona based angles. And that I think really, really helped the brand grow.
Hmm. Nice. Obviously, we know that meta ads are changing a lot, what with AI and trust Facebook for on retargeting and be specific. Why? What are your thoughts on this change or this new way of running ads?
It's really interesting because now it's understanding the metrics. Of course, it's always data, but it's not a technical tool now. It's like a very creative plus technical thing.
Hmm.
Technical be I wouldn't say like, the entirely technical, but yeah, you have to be a combination of data driven and creative strategist. Because if someone is handling the paid ad accounts, they are the front user. They know that what our customers are reacting to, what are the demographics, what are the audience segments. Uh, so yeah, you don't have to now overcomplicate the campaigns with the different interests and different. You just let Meta's AI do the thing. What you have to do, you just have to feed the Meta right signals, what your audience are, and how you do it. You do it with creatives, not by creating 10 different campaigns with different interests. I think it's a very interesting approach, but their AI system is especially, I don't find their creative AI so much like, I have started trying it, but it's not the best. I think it needs more time. But I have been trying some their AI suggested persona based captions, which is like, they are tailoring the caption, understanding the personas themselves. So that's an interesting feature, and I've started using it recently. Um, but yeah, I think I like the new system. It's like it solves your problem. It solves a problem for so many founders, especially if
Yeah.
they wanna manage themselves, you know.
Hmm. Hmm. So, speaking about creatives, how do you align, ad creatives and offers, funnels, the landing pages, specifically for CRO, right? For successful CRO.
Yeah, so I start with the, like I said, customer reviews, comments, and survey data. And then I extract the pain points and emotional language, specifically what language that my customer is speaking it. And from there, I start building different angles based on ICPs. I'm talking too much about ICP because it that is important. It's very important.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so the once you created the ICP, then you will drive your different ad angles based creatives, and based on those creatives, you build your landing page. And I have been yes, the landing page, you don't have to build a landing page for each specific persona, but you have to build landing pages based on new customers and returning customers, and use a language where that ad continuation speaks. Because if my ad, sometimes what happen is that my CTR is great, my CPM is great, CPC is great, but there is a huge drop off on landing pages. And why? Because in the ad, I am talking about reducing the stress. And then on my landing page, I am talking about neurodivergent users. It doesn't match because stress can be so many other things. And it's not just related to neurodivergence. So you have to make a match between, depending on what resources you have, uh, but yeah, you have to be very specific that you're continuing what you started talking about.
Okay, so you start with the main message on the ad creatives and then build a landing page to support that, or the other way around, or what's the best step-by-step order of things?
I start with the ad creatives angles, and I don't create like hundreds of landing pages, but I do create some of the specific ones and then tailor my ads also around that. That, okay, this, let's say if this, there is one landing page which is for like, I will talk about no limits also because that's something I'm working on right now. I will talk more about it later. But let's say you have a dementia a specific landing page. So you can talk about dementia there, but you can also insert, Alzheimer's in that same landing page. And then that that creative can work for both of those things because there is a match between those things.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. And I love the what you mentioned that you have a landing page for all new users and for those who you want to returned users, right? So that's definitely it could be a different messages. And you also mentioned emotions, right? So with emotions on one side, maybe performance on the other side, but what you're saying they aren't opposite, right? Those are opposites, right? Emotion and
Ye-
performance.
Yeah. Yeah. Emotion and performance, those are separate things, but they are also the same thing. You have to, because I think now marketing is more about emotions. You have to you have to relate to your users.
Yes. So how do you balance, the creatives, the emotional side of things? Eventually, you need to create conversions and you need to obviously drive performance. So, how is it all connected together?
I start with so if I'm building, I start with the top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So in the top of funnel, I would talk about emotions more, to introduce my brand, and to be relatable to them, be it, through UGC or anything, or even the static and videos. Then in the middle of funnel, like people who are engaged, and the bottom of funnel, that's where I talk about product features and solution. So first you have to make your brand appear that you are understanding their problem, you are touching and related to their emotions, and then after that stage, once your brand is introduced, then you move to a talking about, okay, this can solve this.
Hmm. Yeah. No, they're very interesting. And obviously, where you have a lot of things to prioritize, right? With a lot of pressure these days for just making efficient teams, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you prioritize, just trying to achieve all the things that you want to achieve while still having a very, limited stuff?
I think especially with the team, like how the things are changing with the AI and the stuff, you can. do a lot with the lean team. I think I would say that you start with the you start with understanding first that what are your bigger goals. You look at the higher picture, like what is my what I'm trying to achieve, what is my goal for this year. Because sometimes what happens is that it's not about that you just set the targets and just assume that okay, this is something because last year I made like 2 millions, this year I'm gonna just make 5 millions. You cannot do that. You have to you have to you have to see the growth. Even if you don't have data, you have to understand that okay, but even by month and month, what is my growth rate? Then you build the target. So that is the bigger picture. Now, if my bigger picture is this, I cannot drive my strategy. Okay, let's just start putting everything in the paid media and forget the brand awareness. I think brand awareness is an equally important, especially more important than conversion, because if you have to balance that.
Yes.
By doing all those picture, you have to have like a holistic picture and a bigger picture. And with the limited staff, it's very, I wouldn't say that it's easier, but how you are training your team. I lead by example, because if I am doing the bigger picture and I'm also doing the execution, my team also adapt that. They will be also doing that. They will be also leaning towards that. Okay, I need to learn this and that, and I give them the freedom to explore things like I had, because I got to experiment a lot. That's why I would say that, I have had success, and I do the same thing. I act more like a mentor to my team, and I think it does work great because you believe in them and you let them experiment and train them towards learning things. So even if you have like a lean team, but they are passionate about what they are doing, they will be going to, adapt the new features and
Yeah.
go about it.
And obviously, communication is so important, right? Having that transparency in place. It's like a very, I think, important aspect of everything that we just having this culture of, people to have, the willingness to discuss and to be accept feedback. And I think it's really, really fundamental. Aruba, what are some of the lessons you can provide for early stage brands out there, or some of the mistakes that you see that might people can fall to, in this era?
I think overall, I how many founders I have come through in the recent, especially in this year, I have noticed that there is one single thing everyone is struggling for, which I talked about earlier also, is that the creative playbook.
Mm.
I would say just do this one practical thing for the founders or early stage marketers. Just type in your niche and plus Reddit on Google.
Mm.
Just maybe like write best strat tools or fidget tools and then type Reddit. Find two, three threads with comments. Like, you can pull out two, three top threads by understanding. You get the idea. Okay, there are where 2,000s of comments and this stuff. They have real comments, they have real emotion, they are the real audience, and this language what they are talking about. I'll tell you a simple trick: copy those threads, drop them into ChatGPT, and ask it to break down pain points, emotional triggers, and objections. You'll get
Right.
raw gold insight straight from your audience. Then you can use in ad hooks, landing pages, copy, or offer positioning, because you have all the things they are complaining about, and you're going to speak in their language now, because
Yes.
you know what they're talking. So what they're going to write on the Google, you know that now. uh yeah, I think that is just a gold raw insight, and I would recommend this to all the founders, early stage founders.
Amazing. No, this is a great tip. So thank you so much for that. So tell us about Limbits. Tell us about the brand and your main challenge there.
So No Limits is also a mission driven brand. It's founded by Erica Cole, who's um it's a Shark Tank funded brand. She started by, just making clothes herself, and then taking it to the Shark Tank, and finding this market. I was really inspired by her story because it really is something that can make a difference in people's life, with people with disabilities, like physical disabilities.
Hmm?
It's an underserved market. We are not focused on, okay, if someone have a prosthetic leg, how difficult for them is to, like, use the pants and be self-sufficient, like independent. So those clothes are focused on the apparel. The entire collection is focused on different kinds of disabilities, and uh that's what she's doing. And she recently acquired a Buck and Buck, so that's also a company. It's a company based in it's it, it's been in the business for 47 years, and it's for the senior citizen specific, like
Mm.
adaptive apparel. So I'm kind of looking after both the brands, building the foundations again, because those brands have been doing amazing without any marketing. So
Wow.
I am like that, what all I can do with, like, with now marketing is specific. So it's a huge opportunity out there, and I have just started, but I have like amazing plans, and I can see the future. Because yeah, just imagine if you were doing amazing without ads or without any specific marketing person, what you can make it, right?
Yes. Oh, it sounds like it's such an exciting brand, right? And just it's pretty inspiring. So I wish you all the best and success in your new role.
Thank you.
Ruba, anything else you want to add?
Um, I think, yeah, just this tip which I shared, I think use that. Focus on your creatives, focus on your ICPs, and you will solve a lot of your problems with the higher cats. And yeah, and I want to just say that, I help DTC brands turn, like, underperforming ad accounts and messy funnels into clean, high performing growth systems. Uh, like with a focus on aligning customer insights, messaging, and conversion strategy. So yeah, even if you are stuck between, like, that you are not able to scale your spend from 10K to 15K, 20K, uh, I'm happy to help, and I'm happy to give you an advice. If you just want to reach me out, just reach me out. I would love, because I love DTC space and I love founders. So I would be happy to help you.
Nice. And how people can find you, Aruba?
So my website is www.aroobakamal.com. It's my first name, last name.com,
Mhm.
and you can also find me on LinkedIn. I can share my link, and you can maybe drop it in the
Of
comment.
course, we will add all this information to the show notes, of course.
Thank you. I think,
Great. It was a
yep.
pleasure. Super interesting. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Aruba.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe so you won't miss any of our future content. Explore Vimy, the video commerce platform that includes live shopping, shoppable video, and social commerce capabilities. Visit Vimy at www.vimy.net. We appreciate your support and look forward for bringing you more valuable insights in our next episode.